What's up, guys? Sean here, Rewild Outdoors. Thanks for clicking on the video. We're heading out on a solo overnight camping trip. We got everything packed up on the mountain bike. We're gonna ride in, set up camp. It's a little bit after 2 in the afternoon. We got a thunderstorm coming, so we need to go ahead and get this thing on the road. All right, let's get going. Alright, well, the first spot didn't work out. It was just too overrun. There was no way to really get a good clear spot. So I have come down here to another spot. We got to hike in here. So let's walk on back here and see what we can find. Now here, there's a bunch of big old gators out here in this pond. This is an old clay pit. But there's some fish out there too. We better go find somewhere to camp. Let's go. Now the sign on the way in definitely says walk in only, but it sure looks like two-rut road to me going in there. All this trash and stuff on the ground is a shame. People ought to have better sense than that. Hiking back in here, I'm looking for what is called the Old Harrington Homestead. I believe that's what it's called. Starting to get into a little mix. About to get to a pretty little oak hammock up here, which thinking may be the old home site. I'll tell you, it goes from about 95 in that pine scrub to at least about, I don't know, 10, 15 degrees cooler when you get down here in this oak hammock area. Wow. Totally different. Wow, look at the size of those trees. Found our home for the night. If I can find a couple of trees that my hammock straps will fit around. I believe I'm going to drop my pack here and go see what's around. See plenty of firewood to gather. If you don't know it, dried pine cones are good tinder. If you can get a flame going, that pine cone will take off like gasoline most of the time. So that might be a good start. We'll just have to see what we can find. I want to go check out the homestead again. Well, makes absolutely no sense to walk past this firewood only to have to come back and get it. So we'll grab it while we're going. I may not camp right here in this opening, but I'm going to leave my wood right there for now. I'm going to walk back down this trail, see what's back here. I don't think I'm going to walk on back there. I know I'd rather be further to the front here by this homestead, but I don't know that I want to be right under those big oak trees. Really makes you wonder about this old homestead. What happened? Why'd they leave? this area might work right here. We're just off of the home site. The trees are spaced just about right apart. They're about 5.5 paces. 5 paces is about right. So 5.5 paces is just about perfect. There's decent shade right here, decent cover, and there's no widowmakers to fall on our heads in the middle of the night. I think this is going to work. I think right through the trees over there might be a little cypress swamp too. We'll go check that out in a few minutes. Alright, well let's try to get this place set up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we need to go ahead and get our tarp and our hammock set up. Our tarp, our sit pad, oh man, our bottle of water. Need some of that right now. Hammock. Now, first thing we're going to do, I don't know if these ridge lines will be, or I mean these straps will be long enough, so I may have to run a different line, but we're going to try these first. These are pretty cool. If you look, these have individual loops in it. Individual loops to adjust the height of your hammock. And we want to take this thing, get it about, I like about head high. Make a lark's head on it. We're going to run right through the loop on it, pull it around the side. And as long as we pull it off of the side of this tree, it'll always have tension on it. Do the same thing over here. Okay, so this is a Sportinaire, came from Amazon hammock. It came with the bug net already installed on it, or I mean it already has a bug net on it. So, and it's got, each end has a carabiner hooked to it. Now, I don't know if this thing is going to be long enough or not. I'm kind of thinking not. I'll start with the longest one first. Then if that works, we'll back up and tighten the hammock. Yep, we're a little short. So, I've got a remedy for that. I'm going to just fold this up and set it here on the sit pad. Now, in one of these pockets, I believe it's this one. Got two of these heavy pieces of webbing. This should be plenty. always have a backup plan. Again, we're going to do a lark's head on here. Pull it around where it will sink down on the side. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to pull these together. That'll make me a prusik. Once I get it on here, I'll lock it off. So that's a prusik, and that'll easily come undone. I'm going to go to the other end. Now I've just made a lark's head on here. It's going to get locked into the carabiner, and I'll take you over here and show you how we're going to do the other end. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to come up about where we want it, come around the tree. I don't even know if you can see this or not, but we're going to do what's called a taut line hitch on here. So we're going to go twice, going to go across the rope, twice on the inside, then back across and go back through one time on the outside, and that makes a taut line hitch, so you can adjust this as tight as you want and that thing won't slip, and then you can zip it back and it'll adjust to wherever you want it as far as height wise. That's a taut line hitch. That's what it looks like. Two on the inside, one on the outside. And as you pull it back and forth, it'll adjust the tension on this line without slipping. Okay, now as you can see, I've got my hammock hung, and I've got the bug net suspended off of me where it's not going to be hanging down in my face this time. That's what I did wrong last time. To hang this hammock up, it comes with 2 ridge lines for this bug net. Not really super excited about that, but it works okay. It's meant to give you a little more room inside. I think it's just a little more of a pain to set up. What you have to do is run 2 ridge lines, and then you have to separate the ridge lines on either end, or else it'll all just bunch up and hang down in the middle. That's not really a good design. But so I've got that set up. Now I've got to set my tarp up above it. That way I'll have some protection in case that storm does come in tonight. So that's next. Well, I'm hoping this wasn't a mistake. This place is crawling with little ticks. I'll have to be real careful and keep an eye out and watch myself, make sure I'm not getting covered with them. When you're getting your setup correctly, or prime example, that's a freaking Lone Star tick too. That's not good. Oh man. But we bought it, so now we got to deal with it. Once you get your setup where you want it, it's important to make sure that everything that you want is there, because now I've got my 2 trees, I've got my tarp set up kind of the way I want it, but I don't have a tree in the front here that I can tie my tarp to. So what I've got to go do now is I've got to go find a pole that I can cut to put up there and stake out, that I can use as that front anchor. So we're going to go try to find one of those now. Okay, so as you can see, what I've done here was I've taken this pole and I've actually lashed around the pole at the top and just kind of drove the pole in a little bit at the bottom, and I've gone over and tied to this little tree here. Now I don't know if that's going to hold. It seems to be holding pretty good, but if it starts to storm later, I may have to come in and put a stake out there. But it looks like it's clearing up around me, so maybe it won't. Now I've got my shelter set up. I've got my hammock set up. I need to reorganize all my stuff, check myself for ticks, and then I'm going to go ahead and get a fire started here where I can start cooking my dinner tonight. I've got a steak to throw on this grill. Boy, I am sweaty. It's hot out here. That's no joke. But it's supposed to be down to like 72 tonight, so hopefully that'll be okay. But the breeze is blowing, so that's not bad. And I'm gonna go check out this cypress pond here in just a second. I think we'll go out here and see if we can see what's in this cypress swamp while we have a little bit of daylight left. Got to be very careful walking around out here, because this is prime area for rattlesnakes, canebrakes, and pygmies, and diamondbacks. So got to be very careful. And also, you may not believe it, but there still could be moccasins up here, because they travel to and from water. And with that being a creek back there, and possibly a cypress swamp right here, you never know. One thing I'm gonna have to be real careful for walking around out here too is wild hogs. And this could easily be a hog wallow right here. Definitely big deer tracks. Another thing you have to be careful for, it's not very common, but in Florida there is quicksand. That's mud, but I don't believe it's quicksand. There's some fresh deer tracks in it though. I love this, just wandering around in the woods. There's camp. Well, I think I'm gonna get us some firewood and go take it back to the actual homestead site. And I think I'm gonna do my campfire there and cook my food away from camp. So I've got to gather up some wood here. Get some firewood. And there's a nice log over there too to sit and chill on. So that'll be a nice place to hang out, because where my camp is, there's really nowhere to sit. So this will be a nice little area to sit here. I think I'll build my fire right out here. Right down there. I think that's where I'm gonna build my fire. And I'll have this log to sit on here. It ain't going nowhere. Good and strong. As long as there ain't no snakes. Which I don't see anything that looks like it's gonna get me. Alright, let's go see if we can find some more firewood. Still got this firewood that we picked up earlier. All the stuff that we're going to cook with has to be oak. We can't cook with pine. Pine has resin in it, and it will make your food taste horrible. The only way to actually cook with pine is to let it burn down to coals. Once it burns down to coals, then you can cook over it, but I still don't suggest it, just in case, especially when camping. The last thing you want to do is ruin the only food you brought with you. Boy, feels good to sit down. As Ron White would say, I got the shoe buddies. Shoe buddy. I got that white leg. So I've got my silky saw here. I'm gonna cut some of this wood down into smaller pieces that we can use for the fire tonight. We don't need anything real big because we're not using it for heat, we're just using it for food, or to cook our food tonight. Ticks, man. Now I'm cutting this on the wrong side, but the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want all this other crap hanging across my leg. Being honest, I'd rather it bind up a little bit than have that crap hanging across my leg. I hadn't been feeling good the last couple days. Got some stressful things going on, and honestly I was just a little wound up and stressed, and so I decided that today, since Sarah was going to spend the night with her grandma, I decided that I'd kind of just do an impromptu camping trip, make a video, get out here where there was no one else depending on me, and I didn't have any set time to get anything done by. Sometimes things get a little bit overwhelming, and you know, it's stuff like this that makes me feel a lot better. I get out here, I can feed all these ticks. Another one. That I can get out here and have a good time and just enjoy it. This place originally belonged to my cousin Earl's family. And that's pretty neat, you know. This old homestead, there's nothing left here but the clearing. But I'm just down the road from where the Battle of Olustee took place. And I like to think about stuff like that. I like to think about the fact that, you know, more than likely there were soldiers at some point wandering through these same woods I'm sitting in. Makes you wonder if I'll get visited tonight by somebody looking to maybe get a cup of coffee at the fire. It'd be kind of cool. It doesn't bother me. As long as they ain't up to nothing silly. This silky saw is awesome. As sharp as can be. Now this ain't the hardest wood in the world, obviously. But I have cut some red oak that was about as hard as anything you've ever seen with it. Trimmed it right up. Alright, I think I got us enough stuff to build us a fire. Now there's a ton of different ways to build a fire. Everybody kind of has their own opinion on it. I'm going to show you how I like to do mine. I like to start out with some base boards down there. Then I like to cross them up with almost kind of like the next size boards, limbs, I guess, like that. And we're gonna go even smaller still. Now what this does is, as your fire burns down, it burns down to bigger and bigger limbs, like that. So then we're gonna get some even smaller pieces to go on here. Something like that. Okay? Now, when you're processing your actual tinder that's going to go on after you spark your bird's nest, you want really fine stuff to start with. Small twigs. Like that. But that's going to go on after you get your bird nest sparked. But you need to go ahead and get it prepared in advance. All this stuff is really dry, so I would imagine it's going to go pretty easy. But you just never know, so you want to be prepared. Yeah, that stuff is real dry. You want to make sure you have plenty of it, because if it burns out and you're not ready for it, then you got to start back over. So better to be prepared to start with. Alright, so that should be enough to get us started. Now what I want to do, and matter of fact, I may not even use all of this. I'm going to use just a little of it to start with. I'm going to get that bird nested up like that. I'm going to kind of tuck it in here. Alright, my trusty Uberleben fire steel and my Condor bush lore. Alright. Scrape a little of this in there. Get it pushed down a little bit. There we go. Once we get that rolling, I'm going to start putting a little on it. That'll back you up a little bit. Now, as our fire gets down to about cooking temperature, I'm going to show you what we got for dinner tonight. I've got a nice piece of steak that's been marinating. Then I've got 4 red potatoes to cut up with some onions and some butter to go inside a tinfoil pouch to go in the coals. So I'm going to go ahead and get this dinner cooked, and then I'll see you in a little while. Alright guys, so I'm starting to lose light out here. It's getting dark. I'm fixing to enjoy my steak. You see here? Fixing to enjoy my steak. The potatoes are almost done. So I'm going to have steak and some potatoes and onions. And I'm going to go ahead and call this for the night. It's getting dark and won't be very good footage here in a few minutes. So anyway, I've enjoyed my afternoon. It's been quiet out here. I walked around and looked at some stuff. just basically just chilled out. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call this for tonight. I guess I'll see you guys in the morning. I don't know if you can hear that or not. It's pretty loud. Things got hectic here for a few minutes. As you can see, my hair is wet. Woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's storming like crazy here. And this tarp had gotten into a configuration somehow where it was holding water on top. And I was basically cocooned in water. So I took the opportunity to get out, filled my water bottles back up, dumped the water, reconfigured the tarp real quick where it would be in an A-frame instead of holding water on top. And then I climbed back in my hammock here, and I'm gonna ride this storm out. It's lightning and raining pretty bad, but all in all, it's not too bad. But I'll turn this light off and see if you can see some of this lightning flashing. I don't know if you can see that or not, but well, I guess I'm pretty well cocooned here in my hammock, and I'm gonna just ride this storm out. I'll see you guys in the morning. Hey guys, so I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a pretty rough night last night. About 3 o'clock this morning, a storm rolled in, and it was rough. But this DD hammock tarp, that thing held up great. It did exactly what I needed it to do. Matter of fact, it went above and beyond. At one point, it actually sagged in the middle, filled up, probably had about 15 gallons of water in it. And as you can see, there's no damage to these at all. That's why this double stitching, extra reinforcement is such a good thing. But I'm smart enough to know when enough's enough. And rather than hanging around here this morning, there's another storm coming in, I'm gonna go ahead and pack it in, get everything packed up, and get hiked out of here. I got a ride coming to pick me up here pretty soon, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing packed up. Well folks, I hate to cut the video short, but that storm that rolled in this morning about 3 o'clock was enough for me today. There's another storm coming in, and I don't want to be stuck out there in it. The thing is, the place I went, my second choice, I had to be dropped off so I could hike in. There's no parking there. And so I had to go ahead and get a ride this morning when I could get one. My cousin Steven came and rescued me this morning, got me on out of there. So anyway, I hate to cut the trip short, but I'll be honest with you, all the wood was wet from that rain last night. When I say it rained hard. It stormed and lightning. But all the wood was wet and there was no way to make coffee this morning, and I'm man enough to know when to quit. No coffee, no bueno. Well, I believe I'm gonna run through McDonald's here and get me some breakfast. Okay, can I get 2 breakfast burritos with mild sauce and a large black coffee? I'm sorry?
Your total would be $4.06.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
You have a good day. Got it. Got me some breakfast. Time to get on the road and head back to the house. Thanks again for watching the videos. Well folks, I can see that I made the right call. Glad I got out of there. It was going to be 1 o'clock this afternoon before I could get another ride out of there, so this was a better call. So I just made it back. As you can tell, the rain came with me. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my experience out there camping. And yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work. It's blowing in here on me. So, you know, not every camping trip is the perfect scenario. And I knew that when I was going out here. You know, I had already planned on this was going to be a thunderstorm camp. That's fine, not a big deal. And I got it. I got what I was looking for. It rolled in about 3 o'clock this morning, and you know, I learned a few things, which is great. That's what these things are for. But one thing I'll say is I was very, very surprised with the